Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, the UP Assembly election results have come out, and after that, so has a lot of conversation around the opposition. There's a lot of churn within the opposition. Is 24 walkover for the BJP? Can the opposition wrest back the initiative? And at the end of the day, it all comes down to the Congress because, in terms of the pan opposition party, the pan national party, it is the Congress that is the main opposition party. The Congress has to get its act together. Of course, then we talk about the Gandhis. Should the Gandhis remain in control? Already within the Congress, people are baying for their blood, saying that the Gandhis can no longer take the party to electoral wins. But then, if not the Gandhis, then whom? Because the other side of the argument is also true that it is the Gandhis that are the glue that are holding the party together. There is another argument that is being given that instead of reinventing the Congress, reunite the Congress, bring back people like Mamta Banerjee and others who have left and who have a better leadership potential. To discuss all that, I have joining me on the roundtable. I have Pavan Verma, he's senior leader of the TMC. I have Rashid Kirwai, author 24 Akbar Road, and Nirja Chaudhary. She's a senior columnist and political analyst. Rashid, to begin with, we had that CWC of the Congress where we thought, I mean, I don't know whether you thought something would happen. I think most of us were thinking, "Wahi hua jo," we thought, more of the same, really. The Gandhis are not going to change. Then is the Congress going to change without the Gandhis, with the Gandhis?
I think, Priya, for the you see, electoral defeat and for that matter, victory has been part and parcel of life of every political party, including the Congress. For the first time, no, it's not only Congress which is vulnerable, but it's Gandhi family. Remember, no member of Nehru Gandhi family has failed or has had to take retirement while in politics, forced to take retirement. But this is it's staring at the Nehru Gandhi family now because they need to do election after election. The Congress is losing. Gandhis are losing respect within the Congress parivar. And that day, CWC that you're referring to, Sonia Gandhi made a very unconventional, I would say, very un-Sonia Gandhi-like remark. And she said, if people, I mean, you people want us to go, and so we are prepared to make that sacrifice, almost putting that 24 years of hard work and respect and that numerous IOU vouchers that Sonia Gandhi had earned. She put that on table. Why? Why? Just to protect one person, that is her son. And that too, there is no dispute in the Congress about the political leadership, belonging to the Gandhi family. What congressmen want is that Rahul Gandhi should own up failure, own up success, come forward, meet, become 24/7 politician. And that is versus, and Rahul is acting according to them, and we also feel in a way that he is running the Congress by proxy. That is a tussle. So it is a kind of wake-up call for Rahul Gandhi to shape, or I mean, I would say Congress section of Congress says ship out.
Pavan, I should also describe you as a political columnist and analyst because you're not just a TMC leader. You've been writing a lot and about the opposition even before you joined the TMC. Now, after the assembly elections, how do you see the churn within the opposition, especially the Congress?
Well, first, let me say to you that although the BJP would, for understandable reasons, like to believe that because of these 2022 elections, 2024 is a done deal. I think the BJP needs to think afresh. Politics is a dynamic thing, and there are changes en route to persistent success which take even the claimant aback. For instance, in 1971, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was at the pinnacle of her popularity after the creation of Bangladesh and the defeat of Pakistan, who could have predicted that by 74 the entire popularity would begin to dissemble? Another example that you have was of Rajiv Gandhi in 1984, seemingly invincible with 404 seats. Yet 3 years down the line, you had somebody completely improbable like VP Singh, who emerged, and Rajiv Gandhi lost the next election. So let us assume that the trajectory of politics is not linear, leading from win to win for any party, and that much could change. Even UP presents that example. In 2012, Mulayam Singh and the SP swept UP with the BJP only getting 10% of the vote. In 2014, the BJP swept UP. So these changes happened. And I believe that with the possible emergence, especially after this wake up call, if an organized, strategic, planned, or and credible opposition with the right alliances, a face, a narrative, and an organization emerges, the BJP could well face a verifiable challenge. Now, as far as the Congress party is concerned, it seems, and we have all good wishes for any political party, especially one as hoary and important as the Congress party, that we wish it well, but it seems that the Congress is unwilling and unable to rise to the challenge of playing the role of the single largest opposition party, particularly in the north and west, plus Karnataka, where in some 250 to 300 seats, it is the party directly contesting the BJP. As you are aware, the BJP against the existing Congress as currently constituted has a strike rate of about 96%. So if the Congress party is unable to meet this challenge, the BJP has a bonanza merely because of the ineffectiveness of the Congress. So obviously, in the 2 year lead up to 2024, the opposition will specially have to concentrate on these 300 seats and try to create an entity individually by a political party or in alliance with other political parties whereby the BJP meets an effective challenge. That, incidentally, and this is my last point, can change the picture quite foundationally because please bear in mind that in the east and south, some 200 seats, the BJP has only 54. I've said this earlier on your program. You have to keep the macro aspect of India on your table. 150 seats are already held by political parties opposed to the BJP. The game lies in the Hindi heartbelt, the north and west areas, where if the Congress cannot do the job, nature like politics abhors a vacuum and something is bound to emerge.
That who's going to fill that vacuum, I'm going to discuss later. But Neja, first, the situation within the Congress. Do you see the Gandhis at all leaving the party? Or do you, there is also one argument that the Gandhis can take control of the party, but they should have another electoral face, not a Manmohan Singh because you need a stronger mass leader, but someone else who can woo the electorate while the Gandhis stay behind the things and do the organization control, plan the strategy, plan the policy. So they are also
that is not
happy.
behind the scenes then. If
That
they do the organization, plan the strategy, how are they behind the scenes?
But the face is not them. There is a different face.
Look,
But yeah,
Priya,
I see Pawan's point. Huh?
Look, Priya, point number one, I want to say that the recent results were bad news, not just for the Congress. It is bad news for the entire opposition. Because we know if the Congress collapses, the opposition has no chance in 2024. That's a hard reality. Arvind Kejriwal can get Punjab, Mamta can get West Bengal, others have other states, but it's not going to work. Therefore, what was a note coming out of that CWC to take, to introspect or to take a step forward in a different direction? It was the same old thing. You had 57 members there, you're not going to get anywhere. And, the same motion of, that Sonia Gandhi said, yes, we are willing to step aside. But subsequently, the notes that have been struck by Salman Khurshid, for instance, who is Kapil Sibal? What has the party not given Kapil Sibal? Why should he be talking like this? It's largesse given by the family to every member of the Congress party who's done anything, a minister or held a position. I mean, what kind of an attitude is this? Kapil Sibal today is doing more service to the Congress party than other people because he's speaking the truth. He's saying, wake up. It doesn't matter, step aside. A lot of people in the Congress feel that. And this should not be seen as anti-Gandhi family, because the Gandhi family may well bounce back. But the mood in the country is today you are not clicking. Today you're not getting the votes. Therefore, whether you step back, put 3-4 people, in front who will lead the party, who will build the party. Rahul Gandhi, there's no one else better than Rahul Gandhi who's speaking the truth to the BJP. I mean, he is a strident critic of the BJP as no one else. But he is simply not clicking, number one, at the popular level. And he's not accessible to the party. It's not me saying, you saying, it's what the congressmen and women are saying today. And you need a hands-on person. I would say that doesn't mean Priyanka, Rahul may not come back to the front 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But you have to look at the situation today. And therefore, you have to, even more than the chehra, that will, your prime ministerial candidate, it is you have to get down to having people who will build the organization at the ground level. The secret today, as I say, is organization, organization, organization. And you have enough talent in the Congress, put people where they are needed. I would say, get Gehlot to the center. He is a fine, strategy builder. He's done it in the past. Give Rajasthan to Sachin Pilot. There's a good chance you may get it back. Otherwise, you're going to lose Rajasthan as things are happening. So also state by state. And of course, we all know 150 seats, South and East are there. It's the Hindi heartland. That's a challenge. So I think they have to, you and I can keep on and on and on. But if critics are going to be taken as people who are anti-Congress, that very attitude, I think somewhere needs to be looked at again.
Pawan, you wanted to come in quickly before I take a break?
Yeah, very quickly. I have great regard for Nirja ji, but I must respectfully disagree because there's a contradiction in the argument she made. On the one hand, she very precisely analyzed the Congress, and in spite of this setback, its inability to see the writing on the wall or to smell the coffee. On the other hand, she says it's bad news for the opposition, as if on the assumption that if the Congress as currently constituted is not there, there can be no opposition to the BJP. I humbly, respectfully disagree. You see, the Congress space is important. The Congress instrumentality in its current leadership and organization is not. And you are bound to have a situation where that space of the Congress will be appropriated by another political parties or several political parties in a constructive and innovative alliance in order to put up that fight, because I refuse to endorse a principle which says that if the current Congress refuses to change or is relentlessly eroded, then the BJP is permanently in power. It is on the assumption that politics is static, that there is no possibility of dynamic change.
If the Congress won't change, the opposition.
Priya, can I just come in with one sentence in response to Pawan? Pawan, I say it's bad news for the Congress, for the opposition 2024. Of course, the space will be taken up. It is being taken up. Tomorrow, Mamta will expand to other states. Kejriwal is definitely eyeing the Congress space, particularly in North and West India. It is going
Don't
to
rule out new entrants.
Yeah, new entrants. Absolutely, I agree with you. Absolutely. But it's going to be a long haul. It's not going to be 24.
Yeah,
it will be
10
years, 15. Yeah.
We are working to 2024. It could be a longer project also.
But don't give up hope for 24. I'm going to take a quick break and bring in Rashid, because I saw him smiling when she said bring Gehlot to the center and give Rajasthan to Pilot. I want to know why Rashid was smiling at that. Hello and welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We are here discussing the state of the opposition, and because the opposition, we have a special focus on the Congress party. Rashid, Gandhis are not cutting it. Whether they step aside or they allow someone to share space, a new face has to come. Is it Gehlot? Is it Bhupesh Baghel? Should Sachin Pilot be that face?
Yes, so Priya, that's a very interesting formulation, and I think we as outsiders are, kind of weighing various pros and cons. If you look at that image, so Sachin Pilot is perhaps some may argue is much better placed to be the AICC president because he is a kind of campaigner. The caste equation suits him. He's got a good media relations and he speaks well. He's bilingual. He can reach to people like Mr. Pawan Verma and others who are anti-BJP, and yet they are
Pawan
like
Verma, you're placing in English or Hindi? Because Pawan Verma is also very bilingual.
so all this thing, but then it has to have some kind of backing. Sachin would not throw his hat in the ring unless he has that backing or blessings of the Gandhis, because as I said, the political leadership is with the Gandhis. So Gandhis need to give their kind of support to somebody like they have done it to Dr. Manmohan Singh and several other political players in that entire journey. So that's the thing. Congressmen draw strength from Nehru Gandhi family. If Gandhis become insecure, then it's a very bad news for the Congress and for the rest of the non-BJP, non-India opposition. So that is the long and short of it. I think the 24 story is very chaotic as of now, because unless the Congress gets its act together, as Mr. Verma has explained in terms of numbers and all, and see what Aam Aadmi Party will do in next foreseeable future is to cut Congress chances. You look at Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation elections in 2021, October 2021. See, it was one municipal corporation that was not with the BJP, and BJP won handsomely because that vote share got divided between Congress and AAP. So Congress got 2 seats and AAP got 1 seat. But BJP walked away with 41 seats. So this is the arithmetic. I think that is what is bothering Mr. Pawan Verma and many others.
Mr. Verma, is that what is bothering you? The fact that...
You see, I am now, I do not know how to respond to what Rashid was saying, because to be honest, how long can we give the argument? And I understand where Rashid is coming from. The argument that if you challenge the Congress, you are going to cut the opposition. But Congress has got 2 seats in UP. What are you cutting into? I mean, if you are a party that has the uncanny ability to lose every election where you are the front runner, including possibly in Uttarakhand, does this mean that there is a sentence passed by some mythical Supreme Court that no other party should try? No new entity should come in, no old party should make the attempt, because even though you keep on failing, out of 50, you have lost 45 elections since 2014. Only you have the heavenly ordained right to continue to fight the BJP. Now, this is no argument. So as I said, there is bound to be, and there is talent. And by the way, there are legitimate discontents to act upon. And I want to give the example of UP. Akhilesh ji made a spirited effort. That effort should have begun from the week after his defeat in 2019 election. You cannot come in 4 or 5 months before the election and hope to take on the organizational machine of the BJP and conjure the social engineering which must accompany it, derive a narrative that is attractive. You can't expect to do it. But it does not mean that it's not possible. There is great fatigue as AAP's victory in Punjab has shown. And I wish the party well in its own way. There is great fatigue against existing parties, but the real problem is that the effective alternative has not been planned with the right level of organization and strategy. And it is bound to happen in our country.
Yeah, the alternative is for those, I think, who are 24/7 politicians also. The whole problem with Akhilesh is exactly what Pawan Verma said, that he, and again, now he's given up his Lok Sabha seat, so, sorry, his MLA seat, when he should be actually, if he wants to retain UP, he should have retained his MLA seat and given up the Lok Sabha seat. So do we see this whole trend in this young dynasty, which is why maybe Modi is right, that, it's the end of dynasty politics, or at least the privileged dynasty. Nida.
Are you asking
to
me?
Okay.
Nida.
Yeah. No, Priya, I'm going to tell you a conversation I had with a very senior BJP leader last few months ago. And I said to this person, how, if you were at this point responsible for reviving the Congress party, what would your strategy be? And I was quite surprised when the answer was, I would put my money on the older people. I will, I virtually saying the younger lot have no substance in them. And I got shocked. You're talking about India, which is younger, and the younger have to lead the party. He said, I would go for completely new lot of younger people. Unme dam hi nahi hai. So I'm answering this as, and contempt, even contempt for those who were joining their party. So this was a very interesting insight into what they really think. I would say, Priya, that if the dynasty is part of it, if you're born with a silver spoon, but many born with a silver spoon are also have worked very hard, are working round the clock. Now you take Scindia, for instance, in the BJP. Today, he because of the sheer dint of hard work, the RSS is viewing him as a possible, hamare rang mein dhal gaya hai. So why is it that this cannot happen within the Congress party? That's my question. Why is it not happening? I would say Akhilesh, yes, he should have come in much earlier. I would say today, Priyanka Gandhi should stay the course. Despite 2.5% of vote, despite 2 seats in the Lok Sabha, I think she's on to something very important. And to revive the Congress party after being out in the cold for decades is not going to be an overnight phenomenon. 3-4 mahine mein ho jayega. But somebody like her with the women constituency and appeal to them, and a lot of women I know are looking at her in a very different light. She should simply stay the course in Uttar Pradesh. How do they get the Dalit vote back? The Dalit vote is today up for grabs. Kejriwal is making a pitch for it. Others are, because Mayawati is collapsed. Therefore, what is going to be your strategy? In Uttar Pradesh, if you get the Dalits back, the Brahmins will look at you with new eyes, and certainly the Muslims are going to be with you, even for 2024. But ultimately, you have to boil down to, are you going to be, it has to boil down to, are you going to be ready to look at things that you have not looked at? And I think Sonia Gandhi's insistence that it has to be Rahul, 3 years an interim president of the grand old party of India, come on. How is this justifiable, except if the explanation is Rahul is not ready at the moment, so we have to wait. Look at, that's a bottom line. That at least comes across to somebody like that. Can the party afford that? Can the opposition really afford an attitude like that? Is Sonia Gandhi prepared today to re-look at that?
But quickly, Rashid, Priyanka Gandhi, do you see her leading the Congress would be a better option?
But Priya, as I said, you see, the options are many, but options need to be exercised. See, when you're having a Chintan Shiva, what is so important? It could have been done in a week's time, 10 days time, something like that. But they've said after budget session, how many Congress people are member of the either House of Parliament, and all those, the Rajya Sabha time, they all are part of the G23. So what I'm saying is, these are the things, that is a lot of sab chalta hai approach. There is no sincerity or urgency. At least that is the public perception, whether it's about issues. What is the Congress stand on that hijab controversy in Karnataka where elections are there? So they are not, they're looking right and left, and they're just trying to avoid. This is a thing, the simple thing of having a chehra in a state assembly election, or starting some what do you call it, alliance talk with men like Mr. Pawan Verma and others. The Congress has a huge a pool of talent. As somebody known to me, and you had said, one famously, okay, what, so, I mean, Congress, Rahul, whether you want to say, or Gandhis are employing, ke Bharat ka ghoda race mein, or race ka ghoda Bharat mein. So this is not leading them anywhere. The Congress has a lot of talent and it should be put to use. It is back to basic approach that Congress needs.
Last, Pawan, from you, do you see the Congress imploding, or do you see the Congress reuniting, with Mamta and all coming back?
No, it's not that. I do not wish an implosion on the Congress party. But the fact of the matter is that if the Congress party is unable to win elections, which is the primary reasons why people are in politics, politicians will look to avenues to migrate where they can stand in elections, win elections, and come to power. It's as simple as that. I mean, in UP, if the Grand Old Party gets 2% vote, then you have to say, and I want to make a comment on, Priyanka. I mean, I'm sure she has talent. But please see that, when we discuss serious politics, wishes cannot become, the ought cannot become the is. Priyanka will not cross the path of her brother. De facto power is in the hands of Rahul Gandhi. Now, it's not a question of whether Priyanka, who's untried and untested, except in UP this time, could be a better leader. The question is, can she be allowed to become? That's the question. And secondly, आप चेहरे पे ही मत जाइए. चेहरा एक factor है. Please see the spectrum of things that matter. चेहरा एक factor. And Priyanka ji had the chehra in UP. You need the organization. You need the outreach. You need a complete surgical transformation of the apparatus that converts the appeal of the chehra into votes in the ballot box. If you don't like it, a chehra that cannot help you.
So not just the face, but even the organization, and not just the organization, but an agenda and a narrative. Can the Congress get its act together in time for 2024? Otherwise, there are others in the opposition, as Pawan Verma has pointed out, waiting to take the place. Can they get their act together by 24? Well, keep watching this space because we'll have a whole lot more debates on this. But from now, that's it. Thank you for watching this show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.